Welcome to Pranayama Yoga. I'm Christy. Let's take a breath. Let your shoulders relax down. Let's try to lengthen up your spine a little bit. As always, I'm sitting on my meditation cushion, so my hips have a little lift. It makes it a little easier for me to have my back up a little straighter than if I were sitting flat on the floor. So today we're going to focus a little bit more on the spine. So in yoga, there's all of this stuff about the spine. There's some saying about we're as old as our spines, something. I don't remember what the exact thing is. But right, when we see a lot of people who look very old, a lot of times their spines don't really move. So a lot of it is, keeping this mobility in the spine. So keeping the energy flowing through our bodies, helping us to just stay more physically able. And then there's also the energy that flows through the spine. So anybody who practices Kundalini yoga, or you've gotten into a little bit of meditation, or any of this conversation about Kundalini energy that resides, it's this concept that the Kundalini energy is like a snake coiled at the tailbone, at the base of the spine. And that when we get to this state of enlightenment, when we've worked on our minds enough to reach that state of enlightenment, that the Kundalini energy, that little snake, releases up through the spine. So that's part of the enlightenment process. So I don't think we're going to get to enlightenment today. At least I probably won't, but you never know. All right, let's take a breath. But anyway, keeping that mobility going, keeping the energy moving through the spine, I think is probably a good thing. So let's just twist a little bit. So it's like this idea that we're going to move the spine in every direction. We're going to twist, reach your right hand around behind you on the floor, lengthen up the spine, soften the abdomen. Breath. Come on back to center. We're going to take it to the other side. Left hand behind you. So right now, since I'm on the cushion, it's just my fingertips that are reaching the floor. Lengthen up your spine. Soften your abdomen. And then come on back to center. So here's where we're going to get into that pranayama piece. Feeling the breath flow in and out. Try to gently lengthen up your spine without tightening everything up. Just try to create a little space between the vertebrae. Let your eyes relax and your jaw. The eyes can be either open or closed here. Sometimes it's more relaxing to have your eyes open than to have them closed. So if you have your eyes open, just try to find a little spot to focus on. That's a comfortable distance, a comfortable position for your head and your eyes. And then imagine that breath is flowing up and down the spine. So just imagine the sensation of the breath flowing in and out of the spine or up and down along the spine. Try to tap into a sensation of energy flowing down and up along the spine. And then notice, are you finding a pattern in there? You're finding a way to visualize that or maybe feel that. So for me, what starts to happen is as I inhale, I'm imagining, or the sensation of, I'm not even thinking so much about breath rising up the spine, but just that sensation of something rising up along the spine. And then as I exhale, it falling back down. So just this, for me, it's more this idea of sort of movement up and down along the spine. So as I inhale, it rises up. And as I exhale, it falls down. Yours may be different, so just try to find something that feels comfortable. And then we're going to try to take it into Nadi, that was totally backwards, Nadi Shodhana. So we're going to close off this right nostril with either thumb, and then however you want to do your left nostril, whether it's your index finger or your ring finger or whatever works in there. So again, just try to sit up tall but softly. Close off your right nostril. Take an inhale through your left nostril. And then close off your left nostril. Exhale out through your right nostril. Inhale through your right nostril. And then close that off. Exhale out through your left nostril. And then we're going to inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. So we're going to go back and forth. One exhale, one inhale on each side. So exhaling, inhaling, and then changing sides. And then if you can, again, try to tap into that energy flowing up and down the spine. The next time you get to a left exhale, you're going to let it go. And once you've let it go, just notice how you feel. Maybe take a deeper breath. So whether or not you really felt anything flowing up and down the spine, whether or not you really believe in any of that energy, whether or not you're like Nadi Shodhana got totally mixed up, it's still this training of our minds to focus and concentrate and to let go of our normal chitter chatter. So again, whether or not you really connect with all of those ideas and sensations that in the subtle practice, you're still training your mind. So I'm gonna take a bet that you're still getting some benefit regardless of how you feel about the kind of more woo-woo stuff. All right, here we go. Let's lengthen our arms up overhead. Abdomen, and so lift your spine up nice and high, and this time if you can take your shoulders back and push your chest forward a little bit. So now we're lifting up. So again, it's this idea that we're going to create a little space in the spine as well as a little bit of flexibility by pushing the chest forward. So all this tightness that settles into our back. So again, whether or not you're into that whole energy in the spine thing or into having our backs feel good, most of us, and a lot of times they don't. Let your hands come down. We're just going to round forward a little bit. Let your hands come onto your legs. So if you've been sitting cross-legged and it's too long, pull my cushion out here. You can certainly take your legs out straight and wide. We're just going to round a little bit forward. So a little seated cat and dog. You can do this in your office chair. You can put your hands on your legs and round forward. So during the day when you're feeling your back is getting tight, energy is just getting stagnant, you're getting sluggish, just try moving your spine a little bit. So then hands, so if you're in a chair, in an office chair, you can either have your hands stay on your legs or hold on to the arms of your chair, push your chest forward, pull your shoulder blades back, or again, you can come into this arms up, trying to push your chest forward a little bit. But here on the floor, again, however you want your legs, we're gonna bring hands behind us, so that we can lean back a little bit farther. You can do this, your hands, any direction that feels comfortable for you. You could be on fingertips, you could do fists. If it hurts to have your palms flat on the floor, if that's bothersome for your wrists. And then we're gonna round forward. Okay, so this time if your legs are still in a cross-leg position, straighten them out. And we're just gonna round forward. Coming in a little bit lower, let your chin drop towards your chest. See if you can reach for your feet. You may just be they're gonna get to lower legs, but just reach in that direction of the feet. And then we're gonna try to lift up a bit, almost like we do in a half lift, right? We're in that standing forward fold, and we lift up a bit and push our chest forward. So here you're just gonna try to lift up a bit, lengthen the spine, push your chest forward, like you're trying to bring your chest towards your toes. And then we're gonna round again a little bit, just turn this forward fold. See if you can let your elbows turn out, your shoulders come up a little bit more towards your ears. And then again, we're gonna come into this sort of half lift, trying to pull the chest towards the toes. Breathe out. All right, I don't know if I feel better yet, but I can definitely feel how tight my back is today. All right, so we're gonna come back up just into a seated position again. Let's do a little sideways bend. All right, I'm gonna change my mind about how we're doing this. So I'm just thinking about what the issues are for a lot of my students. So that cross-leg position can be a little bothersome. All right, so let's just do right hand down, we're gonna bring left hand up, and we're just gonna bend a little bit to the side. You don't have to go very far here. If you can come a little lower, then hand is on the leg. You're gonna turn out a little bit more to the left side, and then the left hand, maybe it'll reach up towards the ceiling, maybe it'll come to your toes, but it can just come up. And then we're gonna come up gently, we're gonna take it to the other side. So again, I can just be left hand on the floor, bending sideways, right arm coming up, always be mindful of shoulders and how you're feeling. If you're going a little lower here, hand on the leg, just dipping sideways. And then we're gonna come back up. So we're gonna take it back into a little twist. Let's do legs straight here. You can keep your legs straight. Just bring your left hand to the outside of that right leg, right hand behind you. Or if you wanna bend the knee, right knee bends, right foot's to the outside of the left leg. Turning into this twist. So again, as you breathe, you can just kind of tap into, how's my spine feeling? So you can imagine at any point in the practice, energy flowing up and down the spine, or you can just kind of tune into, how's that spine feeling? What's the mobility like? All right, back to center, right leg straightens out, left foot comes to the outside of the right leg, or if you're doing it with legs straight, just similar pose. Holding on to left knee, left hand's behind you, lengthen up, soften abdomen. Feel your breath. Observe your spine. Try to feel that you're lengthening. Even if you know you're still somewhat stuck in there and you're rounded, just try to feel that sensation of lifting up. And then we're gonna come back to center. Take feet out wide, and we're gonna lean forward. Things are tight, just bring your arms forward, pull your chest forward, try to flatten out that back. If you can come in a little lower, you just keep, finding your way. Up. So let's roll out onto our back so we can do pigeon. So again, even in this concept of the spine, the mobility of the spine, the youthfulness of the spine, everything is still connected. So even if we're going to work on keeping our spines mobile, well, then we have to work really on everything else that can tighten up. So if our shoulders are tight, it's going to lock down that upper back. If our hips and our legs are tight, it's going to affect the mobility in our lower backs and also obviously pain. Okay, here we go. Beginning to stretch out the hips. So reclining pigeon, you can begin with left foot on the floor. You can start from both feet. We're going to bring that right ankle on top of the left thigh. If you're doing fallen today, legs drop over to that left side. Otherwise, you're going to bring this leg up. So if it's tight and your head is dropping back, bring something underneath your head. It can be a pillow, it can be a yoga block, it can be a towel rolled or folded. The neck is probably one of the most delicate parts of the spine. Want to keep that supported. All right, so breathe out. And notice if you can feel how this right hip that we're focusing on, how that connects up into your spine. Can you feel or imagine how tightness, or if you have some, whatever, if your hip's too loose, you're having some arthritis there. Can you observe that connection between how your hip health is to how your spine is? And imagine all of that coming into greater harmony. So whatever's going on in that hip, okay, let's let this side go. We're going to let the left foot come down, right foot comes up. Hold the back of that right leg, pull in. So whatever's going on in the body. All right, so I'll tell you my story of the week. All right, so I've been having this little flare up, which I sometimes get on the outside. I think it's usually in this leg. Just on the outside of the shin here. I was just having like this whole nerve flare up all week. I don't know why. I don't know what was going on. And then yesterday I taught restorative yoga, which didn't really particularly focus on the legs, but something in there, whether it was the relaxation, some of the positions, it went away. Been there for like a week. And then just suddenly after class, I was like, oh, that's gone now. So these little subtle things that maybe we think we can't fix, sometimes we can. All right, let's let this right leg come down. So you can always visualize that. Just visualize things healing. We have no idea how powerful our minds are and what we can change. So just having that openness to imagining things shifting and being open to that shift. All right, we're going to bring right foot onto the floor. Left ankle on top of your right thigh. But some things we know we can change. And if you're bringing this right leg up, hold on to it with both hands. So if it's really the tightness in the hip that's affecting my back, I can work on that tightness in the hip. If it's things like arthritis, maybe we can, maybe we can't. I've had a lot of good luck with changing what I eat and helping to relieve a lot of weird pain that I'm sure a doctor would have said with arthritis. So that may or may not be true. for other people, that sometimes what we're eating or what we're not eating can influence our levels of pain and discomfort, influence our inflammation. So can you feel the connection between this hip and your back? Maybe just how it really connects right up into this low back. All right, I think it's time. When I talk, I don't know how long we've been here. Hopefully that was pretty balanced. All right, we're gonna let the right foot come down. We're gonna let the left leg come up. We're gonna hold the back of the left leg, squeeze in gently. Nice big breath. And we'll let that left foot come on down. So if you have something under your head, pull it out. Let your arms stretch past your head. And we're gonna come into a little bit of a bridge pose. So with arms overhead, they don't have to be straight up. Elbows can bend, they can be lower. Just try to find a position where we're kind of changing the shape of our shoulders. That's what we're looking for. So feet on the floor near your hips, low back presses down. And then we're gonna start to lift up. Keep your hips pulling. So as you lift up, it's like you're trying to pull your knees forward, lengthening your hips away from your shoulders. We're lengthening the spine there as we pull these knees forward or towards your toes. And you just want to pay attention to your back as you lift up. If it's not a good day to lift up, stay low. Just engage your hips. Get that bit of traction in the spine, pulling your hips away from your shoulders. Right, so it's almost like when you can relax the torso here and let the legs work. It's like your back is kind of floating. You give your back this little bit of relaxation there, just because the spine's not really doing much of anything here. You're letting the legs do the work. If you can come up a little higher, we're just going to put a little pressure onto our neck and shoulders. Feel what's going on. Don't think about how high you're lifting. Pay attention to what you're feeling in the pose. And then how are your feet? Are they level? Are your knees kind of still? And sometimes it's this very subtle little lengthening, right? It's not like really like the body shifts, but you can sometimes just feel this little like, oh, I forgot about it, and now, okay, I can feel this tiny little bit of lengthening happening when I focus, which nobody else would notice if they looked at you. And then we're going to start to roll down slightly. Trying to feel vertebrae by vertebrae, putting a little bit of pressure along each spot as we come down. So trying to press out some of the tension in the spine. Still breathing. Lowering on down. Oh, hopefully you're finding some good spots in there. You know, my back is so kooky that I don't know that anybody else gets the same amount of benefit I do from that practice of just coming down slowly. And then we're just gonna let go, take a breath. And observe your body. Can you feel any bit of shift? Are the sensations in the body different after we've done a few stretches, or are they the same? Is there any little shift mentally? All right, so coming into bridge pose again, low back down. We're going to lift the hips up. So arms along your sides this time if you like. If you're coming up higher, you might be able to interlace fingers underneath you. And then rock from shoulder to shoulder, coming back to center. And then observe what you're feeling. If you got your hands together, you're trying to press hands down into the floor, lower arms down into the floor, and observe how your shoulders are. If you're a little too high, if there's a little too much stress on your neck, you might be able to lower down a bit. Keep breathing, and then I just caught my knees drifting out slightly because I was focusing my mind somewhere else. Try to keep your knees pulling straight out from your hips. Keep those legs engaged. Keep breathing. And then if you have those hands clasped, release them, let the back come on down, slow and easy. Low back into the floor. You can pull one knee in at a time. If it's better for you just to keep your back down, then just do that. But if you can pull knees in, maybe just bring in one knee at a time rather than bringing both at the same time. If you can come into happy baby. So here's another place where having something under your head can help you to reach your feet a little more comfortably. So if you've just about got that, but it's a little hard to get those feet, like you just can't quite reach them, or it's a little too intense once you get the feet, just bringing your head up will help. And then notice where you feel this in your spine. Alright, we're going to let the feet come back together, bring them on down to the floor. Let's take it into a quick reclining twist. We're going to bring knees over to, I'm going to take my block out again. Knees over to the right side, arms out about shoulder height. So here we're starting to get some shoulder opening in this twist. And then come on back to center. Knees are going to drop over to the other side. So bring your knees over to the left. So bringing your arms out at shoulder height is going to help open up the shoulders. You can change that positioning too if your shoulders have that kind of mobility. If it hurts, arms come in. All right, back to center. We're going to come on up. And let's come out. I'm going to take a step here. We're going to come out onto hands and knees. So that we can do cat and dog. Again, we're going to flex this spine. Head and tailbone down, belly and spine up. Try to really drop your chin towards your chest. And then inhale, spine drops down. Head and chest come up. Exhale, round. Inhale, spine drops down. So one of the ways you can get into the side bend is to be a little more flat back and just try to bring your head to your right, bring your hips to your right. So we're getting a little bit of a side bend there in the spine. Then you're going to take it to the other side. So you can exhale, try to come into the side bend. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, take it over to the other side. Inhale back through center. And then we're going to curl our toes under, come on into a downward facing dog. So here again, you're going to try to let your chin drop towards your chest. Try to let your head drop down. So here, when your legs are tight and your shoulders are tight, you're going to be a little more pitched forward because you just can't quite push back into that flat back. So again, some of this tightness in other parts of the body are going to affect, not just what our natural, positions are during the day, but also how much you can move the spine when you come into yoga or other practices. So you can come on forward into plank. And then a vinyasa. Knees can be down. Lower down with control. Lengthen out those legs behind you. So you want to try to get this long back so that you're not putting too much compression on your low back. You want to really be mindful in those vinyasas about what's going on in your spine. And then press into your hands however high or low you want to be. So again, when the back is tight, you're probably going to be lower. Just chest forward, shoulders back. If you want to bring hands out behind you, you can. So that'll build some strength in the back. So when you just have your arms straight, that could be a nice little stretch. You can notice where you're feeling that, but your back's not really working here. So some of getting that spine health is to build some muscles. So by bending your elbows and pulling your shoulders down, now you're starting to engage those back muscles because you're really squeezing those shoulder blades together. When you have your arms straight, you're just resting, which is fine. But you also want to bend your elbows and make sure you're getting some strength in there. And then we're going to come back into child's pose. And so notice, if you have the ability to shift your child's pose, 2 knees together and knees wide. So you may not be able to do knees together if things are tight. That's fine. You can just do knees wide. But if you have that ability to do either position, just try it both ways. Try bringing your knees together and notice what's the position of the spine here. Your arms can be along your sides too, so you can be a little more huddled up here, a little more curled up. Your shoulders then change position when arms are along your sides. And then how's your breathing? So now your abdomen and your chest are somewhat compressed. So your breath is going to move into your back. You're going to feel that expansion. So sometimes when your back is really tight, if you're able to get into that position where you've got the front of the torso on the legs, just that can help release out some of that tightness and tension in the back. All right, so if you're able then to shift into knees wide, then observe what happens as you do that. How does the back shift? And so it's not that one is better than the other, they're different. So notice what happens here. Notice what happens to the breath. So now your abdomen's really able to breathe. It's not going so much into your back. As a general rule. So again, we're all so unique. Anything I say could be totally not what you're experiencing. All right, so let's push back into our hands. Let's do a little bit of legs. So let's do a lunge. Fold over the leg. We'll do a vinyasa between sides. So we're gonna bring right foot forward. Here's where blocks are super handy if your legs are tight. Okay, so if you want blocks, you can use them on the tall end. So now you have your hands on something, you have more room to bring that right foot forward. We're going to try to shift the hips forward. Whether you have your body up or your hands down on the floor, just try to push your hips forward of that back knee. So we're stretching out that back leg. So what you want to watch here, if you're upright, you want to watch how much compression is in your low back. So I have a slightly deeper curve than normal in my low back. So sometimes I'll feel way too much compression here. I might need to lean forward a little bit more to avoid that. It's painful. So try to lengthen out that back leg. One more breath. All right. And then your choices are either just pull back, rest on the heel of that right foot. So here's where blocks can help too, because you can rest your lower arms on the blocks. Or you're going to come up, curl your back toes under, bring that knee up, and then fold over the leg. And again, blocks can be helpful here if you're having a hard time coming into this pyramid pose, because your hands don't reach the floor. Gives you a little more ability to customize the position of the body. So now I can like really be deep over this leg, but be lifted up at the same time and have my back flat. Especially if you're having trouble in that low back, keeping it flat or being lifted up a little bit can be helpful. All right, we're going to change sides. So we're going to release this right foot. You can just come back onto the knee if you're up. Bring this right leg out, shake it out. And then we're bringing the left foot forward. So you want that left foot to come forward. We're going to shift the hips forward of that right knee. And the hands can be down on the floor or on blocks or whatever you have around the house. You might find something like some books that work well. The blocks are nice because they're a little bit, these are foam, they're a little squishy. Wood blocks can be great for some things, but when you're putting some pressure on the blocks with hands or your back, then the wood blocks can be a little much. Keep breathing. All right, and then again, shifting back, resting on the heel of that left foot, or curl back toes under. Bring that knee up, fold over left leg. Keep breathing. Then we'll release this side, and we're going to take it into a vinyasa. So let that left leg come back, shake it out. So every time the vinyasa, spread your fingers out wide, line your wrists up, curl your toes under, try to push back. And so notice if your down dog is any different now that we stretch the legs. It may not be any significant difference, but it may be. Then we're going to come on forward into plank. Squeeze the abdomen in. And then if you like, knees come down. Bend your elbows. Pull those, like you're trying to pull your heels behind you. Like from the back up behind you. Press into your hands. Chest forward, shoulder blades back. Move your head around a little bit here. So you can release, you can work on building some back muscles here, some back strength, pushing your chest forward, arms out along your sides. If you can get to feet, you can come into this deeper back bend, getting into your shoulders a little bit more. And when you're ready, come back into child's pose. And then we're going to take it into pigeon or reclining pigeon. If you're doing reclining, you're going back onto your back. Rest your right ankle on top of your left thigh. If you're doing pigeon, you can start from hands and knees or you can start from downward facing dog. So either way, you're going to bring your right knee forward and out to the right. So if you're doing it from down dog, right leg kicks up, and then you're bending the knee. Bring the knee forward, so the body shifts forward like you're coming into a plank. And then you're going to drop your right foot over towards the left side of your mat. Bring your shin and your shin and your knee. As a combination, shin and knee, she. And bring the shin down and then the knee down. You're going to try to walk that left leg back. If you're coming into the back bend, so again, you can use blocks here if you have them, or just use your hands. Push your chest forward, shoulders back, and then we're going to come forward. So when this hip is tight, having blocks to put under your arms can be helpful. This might be a bunch of pillows, a couple of pillows, blankets. This is too much. Let yourself shift onto your back. If you're okay, breathe. And if you like, again, imagine that energy, that breath flowing up and down along the spine. You can pay attention to how the spine moves as you breathe, particularly I think if you're in pigeon. Or on your back, the compression, you may not feel so much the movement of the spine. Alright, we're going to change sides. So if you're in pigeon, you can come up. You can try to bring that back foot up. Maybe you can get it, maybe you can't. So I'll have to open up shoulders. Give you a little bit of a back bend again, or a lot of a back bend. Woo-hoo. And then we want to release that front leg. So if you're on your back, you're just releasing your right leg. You can stretch that right leg up towards the ceiling. If you were in pigeon, you can come into a down dog. Stretch out the leg. And then we're going to do, so if you're on your back, left ankle on top of right thigh. If you're doing pigeon, if you're coming in from down dog, bring your left leg up into the air behind you and then bend the knee. So you're going to shift forward into that plank with the knee bent. Let your left foot come down towards the right side of your mat. Drop your shin and then your knee. So the knee's going to the left side. Walk your right leg back. If you're going to back bend again, you can walk your hands back. You can do hands behind you here, interlace fingers, pull back. And then find your spot, feel your breath. So if you're in pigeon and it's too much on this side, each side can be very different. Maybe just a couple breaths and then you shift it into reclining pigeon. Again, you can focus on the spine, how the spine's moving with the breath. The image of energy flowing freely through the spine. All right, we're gonna release this side. So just like before, if you're going to bring that back foot up, if you're in pigeon, you're going to try to reach back, try to pull it in, and just notice what's different from side to side. This side's a little bit easier for me. And then let that go. Stretch out. And then we're going to shift onto our backs. If you're not already there, come on down. And we're going to take it right into a twist and then Shavasana. So arms back out at about shoulder height. We're going to take these knees over to the right side. Nice breath. And then we're going to take it to the other side, back through center, knees over to the left. And then we're coming on into Shavasana. So whatever your spot is today, just flat or something under your knees, something under your head, something over you. Whatever you feel like you need today. Set yourself up. Take a few deep breaths. And let yourself sink down into the floor. Alright, so we're going to do 4 minutes today in Shavasana. Tuck your shoulder blades under. Feel your body moving with your breath. And try to feel that you're softening, letting go a little bit more with each exhale. Take a deeper breath. Notice how you are. And begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rotate wrists and ankles. Stretch your arms past your head. And then maybe bring your hands to the back of your neck. Massage your neck and your head a little bit. Maybe turn your head a little from side to side. All right, we're going to bend our knees and roll over to one side. And then slowly make your way up into a seated position. And we're going to bring hands to our hearts. Lengthen that spine again. So, my back is still tight. But notice how your spine is, how your back is. And just as you go through your day, as you're working, sitting at your chair, just think about your spine and what's going on in your spine, and just try to move it a little bit. So in every which direction you can. All right. So with hands at the heart, nice deep inhale. Exhale it out. Thank you for sharing in this practice with me today. Namaste.